What's up, everyone? So, I want to touch on what Billie Eilish came out with recently. So, she was on Howard Stern's show today. I mean, not today, but recently. And she said that she was addicted to hooked on porn when she was 11 years old. And she stated how she thought that what she seen in porn was a realistic portrayal of porn of sex or what have you. She said that she thought she had to be attracted to violence for sex to be desirable. She thought that was normal what she saw in porn. And she stated that it destroyed her young brain to the point that it contributed to her having sleep paralysis. And she said, I quote, she said, women's bodies don't look like that. We don't come like that. I'm so angry that porn is so loved, and I'm so angry at myself for thinking that it was okay. And what she's stating is not uncommon, especially in this day and age, because a lot of kids coming up, especially with their smartphones and all that, it's very porn nowadays is very like accessible because of technology. Now, mind you, pornography been around for years, decades. Whether you see it in paintings, drawings, writings, and of course, Playboy and all that. And it's like kids are encountering that shit. Like they're practically bombarded with that shit. Like they can be searching something else on the internet, and then next thing you know, some porn pop up, and kids are getting hooked on that shit. And it's sad that they think what they see in porn is realistic, and it's not. It's just a fantasy. It's just entertainment. It's not a replacement from actual real sex. And they think that shit is realistic. Like they think, like to the point they're incorporating that into their sex lives. And it's getting very like violent in a lot of these pornos, like choking and slapping. Like it's getting very violent. And there's some people out here that thinks that's normal. Like they don't understand like that's not real. That's not how people are intimate. I mean, it's one thing if you're into that, but it shouldn't be expected that you should do that in the bedroom. No, you should not come in someone's face. No, you should not do that unless you get that said person's permission. You don't do no shit like that. It's not. And even like this shit you've seen with all these crazy positions, no one's having sex like that. It's just for camera angles. That's all it is. And it's actually uncomfortable. So you do not want to try those positions in the bedroom, okay? Because it's not realistic. It's not. And I blame it on lack of proper sex education in this country because kids should not be getting any information from porn. They should be taught about sex in a realistic way. Like, for me, coming up, I mean, when I was younger, I watched, like, softcore. That's not even the same as this hardcore shit. Like, back in the days, they used to have these, um, shows on fucking Cinemax and HBO and stuff like that freaky stuff, but it was softcore. I really didn't start watching the hardcore shit until I was, like, 17, really. And my peers was watching that shit. And so I started watching that shit out of curiosity. But these kids nowadays that's coming up, they're being exposed to that at a very young age. Hey Renee, how are you? And kids can't even come to their parents on shit, especially when it comes to sex. It's like they don't have that type of relationship where they can come to their parents and ask questions. And some of these parents, they're like embarrassed to even have a honest conversation with their own kids about this shit. So it's like they're stuck figuring out shit on their own. Like they have to go to the media or get the information from their peers. And a lot of times we find out about sex from watching porn. Hey Dookie, how are you? And sometimes like these people get too caught up with this porn stuff to the point like they're having trouble like staying hard. Like they need more extreme shit to get turned on during sex. So it's causing some issues for dudes. And a lot that they don't talk about is the fact that, women can also get hooked on porn. They don't talk about the fact that women can be addicted as well. And some people think that their bodies aren't normal based off some shit they see in porn. Like they feel their genitals aren't normal. They compare themselves to these porn stars. And it's like, it's not real. It's not. Dookie says, too much porn watching is not healthy. No, it's not. And it's not replacement for real sex. Like, I don't even watch it that much, honestly. Like I once did. Like as I get older, I just watch less of it. Like I may watch it casually, but I don't watch as much like I once did when I was younger. And like I said, I'm not against it entirely, but I feel like people get hooked on that shit and it's not healthy. And it's like, it's okay to watch it every blue moon, but like, the moment it gets in the way of things, yeah, you should cut back on that shit. It's not healthy at all. And it's very sad that we can't teach kids properly about sex. The abstinent programs are a fucking joke. You cannot stop anyone from having sex. You can't. It's unrealistic. At one point, people are going to have sex and you can't stop it. And it's like, at the meantime, you should just teach children how to properly protect themselves. Like, you should You know what? I'll say this, and this is how I'm going to raise my children when I become a mother. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit either. I'm going to tell my child, okay, I'm going to give them the proper names of their bodies. I'm not going to be using cutesy names like, oh, down there, none of that. No, that's your vulva, that's your penis. Like, I'm going to go straight to the fucking point. And I'm going to give them books on puberty as they get older. Like, I'm going to be that type of fucking parent. Vic Pierce says, after Pinky, Sky, Black, and Cherokee retired, I did. Then Dookie said, I've been approached to do adult movies before. Oh, really? Okay. But yeah, like I said, like, it's okay to watch that shit, but don't, like, allow it to cloud your sex life. Don't allow it to interfere with that. And kids need to have better ways of learning about sex. And it's like, when I was in school, right, what I was taught in sex ed was like pregnancy, STIs, and puberty. They didn't teach me like the emotional aspect of sex. They didn't teach me about, like consent, boundaries. They didn't teach me how to have healthy relationships. I mean, they didn't teach none of that shit. All they ever taught me in fucking sex ed, especially the school I went to, was just about pregnancy and STIs. Nothing taught beyond that. And it's like one of them things I just had to figure out on my own for the most part. Dookie says, yes, I dated a girl who was in the industry and word got around among her colleagues. Dookie says, I'm not your average man. Okay. And that's another thing, like, I feel sex workers get the brunt of it. It's like, and this is just how societies in general, and I wish it wasn't like that. It's sad that, like, if you do something on camera or anything sex related, right? And you want to move on from that and do other shit, like, you can never do anything prestigious because people will find out and try to get you fired. And it's like, why should people's past be held against them forever? I mean, everyone has sex. I mean, why is that seen as something that you should ostracize someone just because they happen to do it on camera at one point? Perfect Peer says, truth, most important parts of sex can't be taught, only learned from experience. Yeah. But yeah, I wish they taught more of that in sex ed. Like beyond just like pregnancy and STIs and shit. I wish they would teach you something beyond that. Because they make sex to be something like to be scared of and fearful of. It's like, nah, you should still be taught how to protect yourself, but don't make it into some boogeyman shit like something to fear. Nah. And you should also be taught how to use a condom properly. Like, because some people don't. And it's like, it's just, yeah, they need to do better in that regard of teaching people about sex. Because porn is not the best depiction of it. It's not. It's just fantasy. That's all that shit is. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.